Lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It's the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines and, most importantly, provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I say that before every single show. And what I mean by that is I only speak to transportation professionals on this show, as well as my twice-a-week long-form podcast, because I want to talk to the right individuals who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve, so you can take that information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. Corey Buchan, happy Monday all coming in over on YouTube there. Dude, it is a happy Monday, and weather alerts across a large majority of the country. I-80 in Nebraska is shut down. From what I saw here recently, it's closed between Kearney and Ogallala, it looks like, due to poor weather conditions. If you guys are wondering, like, just go out there. So if you guys have any freight hauling on specific roads, I always just Google the interstate. So for example, since we're talking about I-80, I'll do like I-80 Wyoming, I'll do I-80 Nebraska, I-80 Iowa, whatever that looks like, to get it on top of road conditions and everything else, because there's just some nasty weather that is blanketing the upper Midwest. It seems like Colorado as well. It was just a snowstorm that ripped through, and it's doing some nice late spring snow that's coming out there. So yeah, you guys pay attention to that stuff. Let your customers know. Again, not everybody knows that there's weather affecting other parts of the country, especially if you're in a place like me in sunny Arizona, where we rarely have clouds in the sky, essentially. So get on top of it. And then also, one thing to remember, you guys, no truckload is worth a human life. Do not, under any circumstances, think that these drivers should be driving in certain situations. Be smart about that. Get ahead of it. We all know the weather that's going on, that's affecting parts of the country this week. And, it's going to be today and tomorrow and everything else. So that is going to affect freight all week. So be on top of that, you guys. Be proactive in your communication with your customers and everything else. And again, just always remember, no truckload is worth a human life as you're going out in your day and bidding on freight and everything. Let me see here, you guys. We got some articles that we're going to break down. As always, all the links to the articles that we do break down are going to be uploaded onto the Freight Coach YouTube channel, as well as the Coffee with the Freight Coach audio only replay, which is up on iTunes and Spotify almost immediately after the show. We do have some guests coming on later this week. We're going to obviously be dropping the 2 other podcasts out there. And yeah, you guys, we got some irons in the fire, man. I'm really excited. It's one of the most uncertain times in business. And it's very exciting for me right now as well, because we're looking to grow and scale. We're interviewing sales reps right now. And yeah, it's it's an exciting time, you guys, at the end of the day. So, it's I don't know, I'm trying to think of the best way to put this. It's, you work really hard to build stuff up. And then you get to a point where it's like, it's time to expand. It's time to keep reinvesting your profits in. And, I'm just excited about what's to come. I had a family event this weekend, and I'll leave it at that. And it's just one of those situations that, you just never know. You never know how much time you have left. You never know what tomorrow or later today or anything like that is going to bring. And you just got to go for it, right? You'll never regret trying. I guarantee you that. You'll never reach a point in your life where you're like, damn, I wish I wouldn't have taken so many risks and everything else, because, you got to go after what you want. You got to go after what makes you happy, because you just literally never know. You're not guaranteed anything out there. And I would always rather bet on myself every single day for the rest of my life than look back when I'm, hopefully 80, 90 years old, and if my time's about up then, and I'm not going to regret looking back at this time and saying anything other than we fucking went for it. Cause that's what I'm going to do. every single day. I'm going to continue to show up and I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to make it happen. And I'm going to figure it out one way or another. Sonny Sharma, good morning, Orange Shirt Gang. Carla Isted, good morning to you. John Radvansky coming in over on YouTube. He says, good Monday morning. Yes, be safe with your trip planning. Stephen Tittle, good morning, Chris. Let's go, coming in over on LinkedIn. All right, you guys, let's get into some articles here. Because I got stuff going on today and I gotta get to it. And first article we are going to break down this morning is from overdriveonline.com. And this is that FMCSA to end MC numbers overhaul registration system to stamp out fraud. At the Mid-America Truck Show last week in Louisville, the FMCSA admitted its system for motor carrier, broker, and freight forwarder registration and updates had fallen behind, in part to and in part enabled rampant fraud, while pledging to completely overhaul its verification process to improve the customer experience. The changes include ending MC numbers and using USDOT numbers as the sole identifier for carriers, brokers, and forwarders and others, and also would require some work on the carrier's part. Obviously, we've had a registration system in current form for many years, said Tom Keene, who's an associate administrator of the Office of Research and Registration at the FMCSA. It was robust when it was originally designed, but it's become very dated over the years and we need to modernize. Overdrive reporting has revealed significant violations of regulations, such as governing carriers' principal place of business in the system. Hundreds of carriers have registered at a single address, for instance, even employing an email address in particular, case of WTF FMCSA at Gmail that appeared to mock the agency. When Overdrive queried the FMCSA about those last year, the agency hinted at changes to come. Now, an outline of the proposed changes has taken place. Much of the details await finalization, and many will have to wait for full rulemaking process to take place through publications. Furthermore, the FMCSA plans to hold an industry stakeholder day on May 29th to communicate the changes and gather feedback. The changes are aimed mostly at security and fraud prevention, which Ken Riddle, director of the Office of Registration and Safety Information at the FMCSA, repeated. Freight fraud is at an all-time high, said Riddle. Every corner of the industry is experiencing fraud, whether on the carrier side, the broker side, you name it. We've heard from carriers and from trade press asking, what can you do to help? We heard you, we're listening, and we're going to help. I will get to my... The FMCSA plans in short order to implement identification and business verification tools into the registration system, not allowing registrants to proceed until they've proven their identity and that their business exists and is registered with the IRS or the state. Near-term changes, some already implemented, include no longer sending PIN numbers by electronic communication, instituting multi-factor identification, and contracting out verification services to industry-leading firms. We're going to hire the best, said Riddle. We're going to mitigate fraud. I look at something like this. I look at it as the FMCSA has known about this for a very, very long time. And I just look at, government examples, that are out there. There was a recent bill that was passed 12 years ago that is just now getting to roll out into potential consideration and stuff. So when I see stuff like this come out from the FMCSA, I will believe it when I see it. Like, it's going to rally the troops per se, but it's going to take a lot longer than what any of these guys are. Like, in typical bureaucratic format, they're going to hold a town hall and then they're going to think about talking about it. And then they're going to realize, oh, wait, let's put it on 2025's agenda. And then they might get to it in 2025. I have so little faith in what the FMCSA is actually going to accomplish with this that I'm not looking at this as like, none of this is going to change anytime soon. I would be shocked if we see anything in 5 years. Just a tinfoil hat assumption here. 5 years from now, maybe we might see it if we're lucky. Tony Darnell, good morning to you, sir. I don't know. I just think that, again, I could be wrong, but I just know how everything works out there, and it's going to take a lot longer than everybody thinks. This isn't a a fix overnight thing. I will say this to the FMCSA: we got a product for you, broker carrier. You guys can streamline this and have this done right now. This will improve your entire process. It's already ready for you. We are for sale for the FMCSA. Put it that way. I should probably have checked with Kyle, my business partner, before I said any of that. But at the FMCSA has a lot of work to do, out this. And then it goes, and then because back to the article, Riddle promised these initial steps in the next 90 days to start rolling out these segments. We can't wait on new registration system. He said we need to do it just as soon as to mitigate fraud, to protect you. And some examples for carriers using a registered agent as a principal place of business. We'll have that address checked in real time and hypothetically might have their application rejected or flagged for correction. That, in theory, would take care of improve the registration of those WTF FMCSA carriers. A large overhaul of the registration system that will ask carrier questions and lead them to correct form while verifying information in real time should come online by the fiscal year of 2025 or October 1st. No hazmat questions if you didn't ask about hazmat. Riddle gave us an example. If we've asked you for an address and name, we don't want to ask you to fill it in again, noting that the current system makes applicant answer that question up to 4 times. Riddle expects the FMCSA changes to ripple through load boards or other industry platforms in short order. 6 months ago, fraud prevention wasn't our priority. Today it is, because we heard from you in the industry and how bad it is and how much it is needed. The FMCSA plans to eliminate MC numbers and turn the US DOT number into the sole identifier for entities in the system, as well as eliminating arbitrary wait times and instituting a system that processes paperwork over the weekend and holds automatically. I think that here, hold on. Now, entities in the system will have an account. Failure to fill out the MCS-150 or pay UCR fees will result in the DOT number going inactive. From now on, FMCSA expect carriers' contact information, phones, and emails to be actively monitored. We don't have that capabilities now. How does the FMCSA not have that capability is what I want to know. How does the FMCSA, the governing body, sit here and say now fraud's a problem? Fraud's been a problem. Identity's been a problem. And they're coming out like they allowed this to happen. They allowed this to happen for a very long time. And I just, again, read this article, you guys, and I really want you to formulate your own opinions on this. It's overdriveonline.com is the website, FMCSA to end MC numbers and overhaul registration system. Maybe I'm a pessimist in this situation, but I think that there needs to be a lot more done to protect this stuff, right? Like the FMCSA has the budget. They have all of this should be done, right? And now I feel like it's going to be in a reactive state. I don't know. I think this is one of those things where it's going to sound great for the rallying cry here for a little bit, but I'll just believe it when I see it. Because like I read something this morning that somebody was able to log in to the FMCSA somehow and change a carrier's information. It was just somebody just posted this on LinkedIn earlier today that they sent a load to somebody where somebody was able to go into the FMCSA's database and update the contact information through the FMCSA. Like that is messed up right there. So it's something's got to change, and it's got to change quick, because if the FMCSA is allowing this stuff to happen, it's going to take a lot more than what I read in that article. It's going to take a lot more than that, because if these guys have already figured out how to infiltrate the FMCSA's database to change contact information in there, that's a problem. That's a problem. It's a massive problem, because it's only a matter of time. Again, I could go off, but I'm trying not to. from that perspective, because it's, again, I hope it all works out. I hope everything comes to fruition and it helps prevent this fraud um to come about. I truly do. And I hope it stops it from continuing to evolve out there. So check that article out, you guys. Let me see here. What is up? Good morning. Let's get it today, says Miljon. Erica Hamilton, good morning to you. Thanks for tuning in. My man, Nick, let's get it today. All right. Here's another very good article for us to work on. Oh, hold on, you guys. Got a freight quote coming in hot here. Hold on. All right. Got to get this on here. Sorry, guys. One moment here. All right. Quoting freight live on the show, ladies and gentlemen. That is what we do. Let me see here. Joe says FMCSA saying fraud wasn't a priority 6 months ago from them is beyond alarming. Could not agree more, Joe. And again, man, I don't want to blow a blood vessel so early in the week. I usually like to reserve that for like Thursdays. But yeah, man, there's a lot of stuff that was said in that article that is highly concerning to me. Highly concerning that the FMCSA, the DOT, which have a multi-billion-dollar budget, might I add, to operate off of, is allowing a lot of this stuff to happen. And again, I said it before and I'll say it again. The reason why they're allowing this stuff to happen is it's revenue, right? How does the FMCSA generate revenue? By new registrants, by new authorities, by everything else, and paying that fee. So why wouldn't they allow it to go on? I don't know, man. Jason Atkins, good morning to you. Thanks for tuning in, my man. Let me see here, you guys. Now, the next article we are going to break down is going to be on cargo theft. Let me see here. This article is from freightwaves.com. Cargo theft spiked 68% in Q4, led by food and beverage freight. When trade operator Mary Sandoval recently sent a truck to pick up a load of avocados from Laredo, she was appalled when the load and tractor trailer vanished without trace almost immediately after leaving the facility. The truck showed up to the warehouse, gave the warehouse the load, the pickup number, and then drove off and disappeared. We never heard from them. We don't know where the avocados went. Sandoval, whose name has been changed for this story, spoke to FreightWaves on the condition of anonymity. It's the second time they have been the target of strategic cargo thieves over the year, leaving the company with over $200,000 in damages they had to pay out of pocket. Cargo theft is everywhere, but not enough people are doing anything about it. I spoke with a woman who has a company in McAllen, Texas, that had 6 loads stolen in a year. She said she can't pay for any of the lost loads and is afraid she'll have to shut down. I am going to give you guys all a free lesson right now. Stop fucking posting your commodities in the load postings. Okay. It is like, I would say 90% of some of these areas that I see loads posted have the fucking commodity posted in it. You're literally setting a bullseye on your back for cargo theft if you're doing that. Stop that immediately. That is step number 1. And it could be listed here in this article. I'm not even through the article, but that's the first thing that comes to my mind. If you have multiple loads stolen from that area, how are you posting them? How are you going about them? Because if you have a high theft cargo item that you're moving out there, you need to rethink how you're sourcing carriers at that point, right? I would say step number 1, stop posting the commodity if you're posting the fucking commodity. That is a great start. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, back to the article here. It surged 68% year over year in the fourth quarter in 2023 compared to 2022. The trends tell us that cargo theft is currently at a 10-year high, said Scott Cornell, transportation let me see, transportation leading crime and theft specialist at Travelers. So far, the numbers for the beginning of 2024 are projecting that 2024 will have higher thefts than 2023. Cornell said they are seeing higher incidences of strategic cargo theft, which involves fraudsters using stolen motor carrier authorities or logistics broker identities to obtain freight and misdirect it from the intended receiver in order to steal it. Strategic theft is when they use various methods to trick you into giving them freight, and that's through methods like identity theft, fictitious pickups, double brokering scams. Those methods are where we're seeing the biggest increases. Commodities such as food and beverage, electronics, and household goods are the top targets. They've always been the top targets for starters. All right. Food and beverage, electronics, and household goods are always the top targets. You got to think of it like this. Is your commodity easily liquidated on the streets, right? Like if you have goods that people can take and easily liquidate it, and you don't have a cargo theft prevention measure in place into your company, you need to start that immediately, right? Like I have moved a lot of high value cargo in my career, a lot of food and beverage, high value cargo in my career. And with that being said, we had security measures in place that drivers had to follow if they were to move that freight. Okay. You need to think outside of the box. And I can say this with confidence because I've been a broker for a very long time. I know people's tendencies. Okay. I know their tendencies, not everybody. And I'm not saying any of these people in this article that I've read so far did anything wrong, but I'm just assuming here. I'm assuming because I broker freight. You guys, I have access to load boards. I'm on DAT. Okay. I go in there to try and find carriers just like everybody else does. And I will look at load postings and I will see commodities listed in the load posting. Why? Why? Especially if you have high value cargo or easily stolen cargo that you're hauling. Anyways. It goes on to say, when we see cargo thefts along the U.S. side of the border, it's traditionally things that don't usually travel north of those locations, things that can be liquidated easily local, i.e. what your boy just said. We see a lot of theft in alcohol. They used to live in Laredo, and a theft of load of window unit air conditioners one time. So the air conditioners would easily be able to move locally. Food products are also easy to sell. Protecting trade operators from cargo theft. Sandoval thought there were rules in place for the FMCSA that required workers at warehouse and logistics centers to seek several forms of identification. I thought there was an FMCSA rule that regulates warehousing, asking carriers for identification if they show up to a warehouse, getting driver's license plates, Sandoval. FMCSA officials said there are no specific rules for warehouses or logistics centers out there. CT-PAT is a U.S. Customs and Border Protection certification that is supposed to mitigate supply chain security risks by offering benefits to participating companies. FMCSA is engaging with impacted customers, industry organizations. And then let me see here. FMCSA is developing a newly modernized registration system that will have security and fraud prevention at the forefront. FMCSA also said they have taken steps. Okay, this is kind of the same thing that we were reading about earlier, so I am going to skip over that. When we work with our clients, we tell them to check for recent changes of the FMCSA. Ramon said Sandoval and all trade operators should get plugged into the cargo security community, whether it's companies like Overhaul or CargoNet or a local security, get plugged into the supply chain. I legitimately am very okay. I look at it like this. Like, this is what you can do as an organization right now, because this were some of the steps that were required for some of the like, I moved energy drinks for a long time. And if you were going to move energy drinks, your driver needed to provide a driver's license, a photo of their driver's license. They needed to provide a picture of the VIN number on their truck. And I believe it might have been the VIN number on their trailer as well. It's been a while since I've done this, so don't necessarily quote me on this, but we would have to do that, and then we would have to send that over to the shipper, and the shipper would verify that that's what is being loaded on there. The shipper would also take photos of the license plates on the truck and the trailer at that point. The driver had to have full tanks Upon arrival, if they did not have full tanks, they would not be loaded. The driver also couldn't stop within 250 miles of the shipping location due to all of this stuff. So that's just a couple of things, you guys. You should be implementing this stuff. And if you're working with a customer right now and they don't have anything like that out there, this is a great opportunity for you to step in and implement something like this to help them with this, you guys. Because again, criminals don't care about the laws. Might be shocking to some of you. They're going to find a way. Okay. They are going to find a way, but they are looking for you who clearly don't give a shit about your job. Okay. Brokers make it very easy. And I'm not blaming people in specifically here, but you make it easier when you're so over consumed with just book the load, book the load, book the load, get it for cheap, get it for cheap, get it for cheap. Everything else, don't use the same carrier. It doesn't matter. When you're rushing through, that's what they're looking for. Okay. They're looking for the individual who doesn't give a shit, or even worse, the commodity is being posted out there in the load posting. All right. Stop doing that. Start there. Start requiring some of the shit and just make it known. All right. Make it known. Work with your customers. Talk about a great way to separate yourself from the competition out there, ladies and gentlemen. Justin Manning says, cargo insurance broker, happy to help anybody out. That's going to be it for today, you guys. I got to get some freight quoted here. All right. We got to get stuff done. We're going to get some freight moved here this week. As always, you guys, I got some guests coming on later on this week. But yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. As always, you guys, if you guys got value in what you heard, subscribe to the show, you guys. Share it out there to your network, okay? Yes, that is a way that we grow, but most importantly, this is how we can help more people. It's through the fact that if you saw value, your network's going to see value as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you soon.